Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with Golden Opportunities Coaching. Welcome to those of you who are new, and there's a good bit of you. And welcome back to those of you who are seasoned veterans of what we do around here. We take emotional, psychological, and spiritual topics, break them down into discernible, easy language for you to check out on a regular basis, and then we do that as often as we can. I do want to say, and I said it in an earlier audio, but in short form, I experienced a injury due to medical negligence and have some chronic shoulder pain due to scapular winging, perhaps a more permanent condition. I'm not really sure yet, working with a medical team on that. So some days my body just is not behaving the way I'd like it to. That explains some of the drawbacks of why audio has been uploaded slowly in the past couple of weeks. In any event, hoping that to get better as we go into July and through the summer. So hopefully that changes, but I'm doing the best I can for everybody, and hopefully I can continue to be here with you as often as possible. Now, how do you know if you have a toxic sibling? We all have interesting family dynamics. I think interesting family dynamics, dysfunctional family has become the functional family these days, or at least the common family. But how do you know if you have a toxic sibling? We're going to run through about 6 or 7 things that might indicate that you might be dealing with a toxic sibling. And so the first thing is they have no boundaries, right? Like a person who is healthy for you, regardless of what role they play in your life, they know, hey, if no means no, right? And that's an important aspect of trying to develop healthy sibling dynamics. Now, obviously, sibling rivalry when we're younger, boundaries are hard to establish, especially specifically during teenage years. But as we move forward into adulthood, young adulthood, college age, and beyond, the hope is that we can somehow manage to figure out how to have a more healthy, boundary-filled, and respectful relationship. If those boundaries never develop, if they call you at 3 in the morning repeatedly after you tell them not to, if they're always asking for money or always asking for your opinion and then not taking it, if they're always giving you reason to be overwhelmed, then chances are they have no boundaries and they may be toxic to you. Another one is, do they cause you constant stress? Do they cause you constant emotional and mental unrest? If they do, then chances are they're toxic and you may need to limit your interaction with them to a certain amount of times per week or a certain amount of hours per week, or only interact with them on holidays, or sometimes, and this is uncomfortable for some people, but the misnomer that we're taught within society that blood is thicker than water does not always apply, especially in toxic relationships. So you have to find your boundary, keep your boundary, forgive as often as you can, but only stay in relationships where the relationship is mutually beneficial. If after dealing with a person you feel drained, you feel tired physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you just feel like you've gone to battle and you never feel like anything gets accomplished, there's a lot of circular talking, there's a lot of blaming going on, there's a lot of harsh words or non-complimentary words, and there's a lot of complaining, there's a lot of, back and forth, that's another sign you may be dealing with a toxic sibling. The competition, and this is the next one, the competition between siblings usually is there, especially during elementary and sometimes up through high school, but usually in most healthy relationships, by the time we get to college age, we figured out, hey, you're your own person, we can share the things we have in common, leave the things we don't, and live our own lives. If that never develops, and there's always the I'm better than you at sports, or I'm better than you at school, or I have the hotter boyfriend or girlfriend, or I want mom's attention or dad's attention on me, or I can get more money, or I can get more this or that, and there's always a competition there. Not only is that competitive, but it's based in control, which is the next thing. If you feel controlled, if you feel like you're always competing to be on top and your actions are being manipulated in any way, chances are you're dealing with a toxic sibling. Now, this is especially the case if one sibling felt like the black sheep of the family, if there were issues about maybe them not feeling accepted, them not feeling wanted. Middle child syndrome can factor in here. It gets worse if there's an addictive personality type with one of the people, usually the controlling person. But the competition and control go hand in hand with the next thing I want to point out, which is criticism. If your sibling is constantly critical of the things you should be doing, or the things you used to do, or the things you should do, or the things you haven't done, or ways in which you can improve, or ways in which they haven't gotten a fair shot, if the criticism is the center of the communication as it exists between the two of you, you're in a toxic relationship, and you may need to limit it or exit it completely. That comes down to the second to final thing I want to talk about. And I mean, this has been really quick, but it all links together, right? If there's no boundaries, you will be stressed out. When you're stressed out, you become drained. When you're drained, it's usually because you're feeling you need to be competitive or you're being controlled. That comes down to criticism and blame. Blame, whether it's I blame you because I didn't get to go to the school I wanted, I blame you because you always got new clothes and I got hand me downs, I blame you because you're pretty and I'm not, I blame you because you're mom or dad's favorite, I blame you for fill in the blank here. That blame mentality is a key contributor to toxic relationships. And while blame happens upon occasion between siblings, and disagreements happen, usually blame is a conversation. Maybe you have 1 to 3 conversations about it and it's over and it's smooth and it's healed. If that doesn't happen, then the need to reevaluate the relationship is there. And lastly, if you feel like a wrecking ball comes through your house when dealing with your sibling, in other words, it's just chaos. It's like a tornado. It comes in quickly. There's a lot of damage done, hurt words, emotions, negative emotions, harsh nature, a lot of apologizing, but no acceptance of the apology. And you feel like, wow, things have just got turned upside down. You're dealing with a toxic sibling. You're dealing with a person who has maybe an entitlement issue or some mental or emotional challenges or some bitterness from the past or envy because they perceive that you've received favor they haven't. Regardless, if it's a wrecking ball situation, run, get out of there, leave it alone, and realize you're in a toxic relational situation. And there's very little you can do in toxic situations because difficult situations can be healed. Toxic situations, the person who is bringing the toxicity has to cleanse themselves first. And so the worst thing you can do is try and heal a toxic situation because you will feel drained. You will feel like a failure most of the time. And the resolution is often not positive. In any event, I encourage you, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. We will be back with more audios tomorrow. But until then, Scott Golden saying keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.